When Breaking Bad premiered in 2008, it wasn't an overnight sensation, but word-of-mouth praise grew steadily, and before long, viewers everywhere were riveted by Walter White's transformation from family man to feared outlaw. This Emmy-winning drama redefined what television could be: gritty, suspenseful, and deeply human. Even now, Breaking Bad is considered a gold standard for character-driven storytelling, resonating with new generations who discover it on streaming platforms. Prepare for some fascinating tidbits that might make you see this legendary show in a whole new light. 1. Cranston almost said no. It might shock you to learn that Bryan Cranston almost said no to playing Walter White. After years of making people laugh as the goofy dad on Malcolm in the Middle, Cranston was convinced that viewers would struggle to see him as a menacing drug lord. He nearly turned down the role because he believed the transformation from timid teacher to ruthless meth kingpin would be a hard sell. But Vince Gilligan, the show's creator, was certain Cranston had both the warmth and hidden darkness to pull it off. Looking back, it's impossible to imagine anyone else cooking up trouble in that iconic RV. 2. Moved setting to New Mexico. Speaking of the RV, did you know the series was originally planned to take place in Riverside, California? At the last minute, production moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico, mostly due to friendly tax incentives. That dusty desert landscape became such a defining piece of Breaking Bad's personality that fans now can't picture Walt and Jesse scheming anywhere else. The wide skies, open roads, and pastel sunsets set the stage for everything from comedic standoffs to gut-wrenching showdowns. 3. X-Files' role led to Walt Bryan Cranston and Vince Gilligan actually worked together before on an episode of The X-Files. In that story, Cranston played a man suffering a fatal condition, blending sympathy with a frightening edge. Gilligan never forgot that performance, so when he needed someone who could appear harmless at first, then morph into something far more dangerous, he knew exactly where to look. That earlier collaboration paved the way for Cranston to become the legendary Walter White. 4. Paul wasn't first pick Aaron Paul, who stole hearts, and occasionally meth, as Jesse Pinkman, almost didn't get cast. Some producers worried he looked too young or didn't seem streetwise enough. But once they saw him interact with Cranston, the chemistry was undeniable. Their dynamic, a fatherly Walt bossing around an exasperated, good-hearted Jesse, became the beating heart of the show. Jesse's wide-eyed innocence, mixed with street smarts, felt just right beside Walt's increasingly cold intellect. 5. RV constantly broke down. The iconic RV, where so many meth-cooking scenes took place, was a bargain buy from a used lot. The production team rigged it for camera work, but it gave them endless headaches. It would break down on desert highways, leaving cast and crew stranded in scorching heat. People still chuckle about how often they had to push or tow that battered vehicle into place. Over time, that RV practically became a character, symbolizing the messy life Walt and Jesse were trapped in. 6. Cranston chose the briefs. Walter White's signature tighty-whities from the pilot was Bryan Cranston's idea. He felt it perfectly captured Walt's vulnerability and humiliation. Initially, the wardrobe department suggested shorts, but Cranston insisted on something more awkward. That image of a mild-mannered teacher in undershirt and briefs, wielding a gun, set the tone for the entire series: raw, uncomfortable, and impossible to ignore. 7. Jesse was meant to die. Believe it or not, Jesse Pinkman was supposed to die by the end of Season 1. The original plan had Walt losing his young partner early on, fueling Walt's guilt and loneliness. But the writers fell in love with Aaron Paul's performance. As filming progressed, they realized how crucial the Walt-Jesse bond was. Vince Gilligan changed the storyline, saving Jesse's life. This pivot altered the entire arc of Breaking Bad, giving fans that iconic duo we now can't imagine doing without. 8. Norris begged to exit. Dean Norris, who played Walt's brother-in-law, Hank Schrader, actually asked Vince Gilligan if Hank could be killed off sooner. Norris had another role lined up, but Gilligan pleaded with him to stay, promising a deeper, dramatic storyline for Hank. Norris eventually agreed, and Hank's tense journey became one of the show's highlights, especially in those final episodes where his cat-and-mouse dance with Walt reached gut-wrenching highs. 9. Skyler backlash shocked Gunn, who played Skyler White, faced an unexpected backlash from fans who disliked her for nagging Walt or standing in his way. Gunn was taken aback by the hostility. Some viewers so identified with Walt that they saw Skyler as an obstacle. Anna Gunn later wrote about this reaction, pointing out that it revealed certain attitudes about wives who don't blindly support their husband's every move. Over time, more people came to appreciate Skyler's struggle, but it remained a controversial element of the show. 10. Odenkirk improvised. Saul Bob Odenkirk wasn't the initial pick for the sleazy yet charming lawyer Saul Goodman, but once he auditioned, everyone cracked up at his fast-talking, cunning persona. Odenkirk improvised lines that felt tailor-made for Saul's unique blend of comedic spin and moral flexibility. That comedic flash earned him not just a recurring role, but also a spin-off, Better Call Saul, which further explored the character's past life. 11th Mitte helped shape Junior R.J. Mitte, who played Walt Jr., has mild cerebral palsy in real life, though less severe than his characters. The writers and Mitte collaborated to ensure Walt Jr.'s disability felt realistic, never exploitative. Mitte, who had to dial up his speech difficulties for the role, found it both an honor and a challenge. The portrayal resonated with many viewers who appreciated seeing a disabled character living a normal teenage life, concerns about cereal and all. 12. Blue Meth. Rock candy. The show's iconic blue meth was actually rock candy dyed blue. Between scenes, cast members sometimes snacked on the candy, which tasted like sweet sugar crystals. It's a testament to the show's authenticity that it looks so believably like contraband on screen, despite being a sugary treat in reality. Occasionally, an unwitting new crew member would see meth lying around and do a double take before realizing it was harmless candy. 13. Writers cut all filler. The writing process for Breaking Bad was famously intense. Vince Gilligan believed in brainstorming sessions where staff argued out every detail. If a storyline felt forced, they'd scrap it, no matter how long they'd worked on it. This collaborative environment produced episodes with almost no filler, each one propelling the story forward. Writers joked that fans would never have to say, "Well, that was a wasted hour." Gilligan's motto was that every scene had to matter. 14. Gus was scary by silence. Giancarlo Esposito, cast as the chilling Gus Fring, specifically asked to portray Gus as calm and refined rather than a loud, obvious villain. He felt a soft-spoken approach added layers of menace, making audiences lean in whenever Gus uttered a single word. This quiet menace turned him into one of the show's most memorable antagonists. Fans still talk about how terrifying Gus could be with just a slight raise of his eyebrow. 15. Meth scenes hid real steps. The show's producers consulted real chemistry experts to keep the meth cooking scenes somewhat accurate. They also omitted certain key steps, worried about teaching viewers how to replicate anything. Some fans, ironically, joked that Breaking Bad was giving them cooking lessons. But the reality is that the show took pains to disguise essential details, ensuring no viewer could watch and become an instant Walter White. 16. Mike was meant for one Ep. Jonathan Banks, who played Mike Ehrmantraut, was supposed to appear in only one episode as a fixer cleaning up Jesse's mess. But once fans saw his stone-faced loyalty and fatherly guidance, the writers recognized Mike's potential. Slowly, they expanded his role into a major fixture, an ex-cop turned enforcer who provided the moral gray area between Walt's ambition and Jesse's vulnerability. 17th. Color coding was deliberate. Look closely, and you'll notice how color is used on Breaking Bad. The camera often lingers on green for Walt, money, greed, transformation, and strong oranges in desert scenes symbolizing tension. The angles, too, can feel off-kilter, giving viewers a sense that Walt's world is always one step away from collapsing. This cinematography was no accident, as the entire creative team meticulously planned which color to highlight in each scene. 18. No filler, even fly. Vince Gilligan insisted from the beginning that the series would have no filler episodes. He wanted the storyline to progress each week without any fluff. That's why each season feels so tightly woven. There's little downtime. Even the episodes that seem slower, like the infamous bottle episode Fly, brim with tension and deeper character exploration. 19. Laundromat Lab was massive. The secret lab under the industrial laundromat was a marvel of set design. It took weeks to construct that massive subterranean meth-cooking wonderland. The crew jokingly referred to it as the 5-star meth lab, full of gleaming surfaces and fancy equipment no real dealer would realistically have. But it fit the show's heightened reality, showing how Walt's empire had outgrown the modest RV days. 20. Marie wore endless purple Betsy Brandt, as Marie Schrader was subjected to an endless purple motif. Her clothes, purse, even her coffee mugs were purple. It was a playful touch by the costume department to reflect Marie's controlling, somewhat obsessive personality. Over time, fans started noticing that whenever Marie had a meltdown, her purple items became even more intense. Brandt found it quirky but endearing, a subtle comedic edge in an otherwise dark narrative. 21st. Cranston drained by emotion, some of Bryan Cranston's heaviest emotional scenes were filmed back-to-back, leaving him drained. There were times he'd be sobbing as Walt for a final take of the day, then had to show up early next morning and film a different breakdown. He once said occupying Walt's headspace felt both liberating and frightening. The emotional toll was huge, but he considered it a rare privilege to push himself so far as an actor. 22. Paul got punched on set. Aaron Paul once got accidentally punched by an extra during a scene. The blow was real, leaving Paul with a shiner. Instead of halting production, the writers found a way to include Jesse's black eye in the storyline. Paul joked that it was method acting by force, but he admired the show's willingness to adapt, turning real mishaps into creative gold. 23. Fly saved budget, won fans. The Fly episode was written mainly to conserve budget. By restricting the action to the lab and featuring only Walt and Jesse, the show saved money for bigger episodes that season. Yet this bottle episode became a fan favorite, admired for its claustrophobic tension and deep exploration of Walt's guilt. Vince Gilligan proved that limiting scope can yield powerful storytelling if the characters are compelling enough. 24. Baby Blue was debated. Music plays a crucial role in Breaking Bad, especially in the final season. The choice of Baby Blue by Badfinger to close out Walt's journey felt hauntingly perfect, referencing the blue meth and Walt's longing for recognition. Fans called it a brilliant farewell. Music supervisor Thomas Golubich once said that picking the right track took weeks of debate, but in the end, everyone felt goosebumps when Baby Blue played during that final shot. 25. Real spots became landmarks. The location scouts had to secure multiple Albuquerque businesses to feature them on the show, from the car wash to Twisters, which doubled as Los Polos Hermanos. Many owners were thrilled. Tourists soon began flocking to these spots. Others got annoyed by the sudden crowds or fan selfies. The legacy continues, though, as fans still embark on Breaking Bad tours, snapping pictures in front of the white residence or stepping inside the old Twisters building. 26. Cranston and Paul stayed close. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul formed a genuine off-screen friendship. They'd often hang out, discussing scenes or sharing jokes. Cranston, older and more experienced, gave Paul tips on handling the sudden fame. Meanwhile, Paul taught Cranston about younger pop culture references. Even years after the show ended, they teamed up for comedic ads and cameo appearances, playing off their storied partnership as Walt and Jesse. 27th. Walt-Hank showdown was brutal. The tension between Walt and Hank escalated over multiple seasons, culminating in a final confrontation that was brutal to film. Dean Norris and Bryan Cranston both said they dreaded those scenes, knowing the bond between brother-in-laws would shatter irreparably. The script demanded raw emotion, and by the end, the entire crew felt emotionally spent. Even reading it made some of them tear up, anticipating how fans would react. 28th. Writers planned ending early. Before diving into the last season, Vince Gilligan locked himself away with the writers for a marathon session. They meticulously mapped every plot twist, determined to avoid leaving any loose ends. Gilligan felt that a show this beloved needed a finale that felt both inevitable and surprising. That rigorous planning is why so many fans consider the ending a near-perfect close to the saga, tying up arcs that had been brewing since Season 1. 29th. Finale praised, crew emotional. The finale drew a record-breaking audience and was almost universally praised. Cast and crew recalled feeling bittersweet on their last day, hugging each other tight. Some took home props, like Walt's glasses or Jesse's beanie, as souvenirs of a life-changing production. They knew they'd made TV history. Gilligan gave a small speech, thanking them for the journey and promising that their work would echo for years. 30. Foreshadowing fueled rewatches. Foreshadowing was a hallmark of Breaking Bad. Eagle-eyed viewers spotted hints about future tragedies, like pink teddy bears in pools or ominous glimpses of black-and-white flash-forwards. People analyzed episodes frame by frame, searching for clues. That level of detail spurred multiple rewatches, with fans unraveling each hidden symbol or callback. By the end, the series earned a reputation as a puzzle box that rewarded careful attention, reinforcing its status as one of the greatest TV achievements. As we watch Walt's final moments in the lab, or Jesse speeding away in tears, we're reminded of how well the show balanced heartbreak and resolution. The journey was brutal, yet it gave us a sense of closure. That final note of Baby Blue still echoes in our minds, hinting at Walt's reflection on what he built and lost. Meanwhile, the spin-off Better Call Saul expands the universe without diminishing the original's impact. The fact that fans keep rewatching Breaking Bad, dissecting each scene, is a testament to its layered storytelling.